That is a pretty heavy statement, right? This is the CEO of Uber, Dara Khosrowshahi, being, well, brutally honest about the future. He's not mincing words. He's saying, look, those 9 million drivers and couriers, they're going to be out of work. Talk about a stark warning. This really sets the stage for one of the biggest technological challenges of our time. So who is this leader? Who is the person steering this global giant through what is, frankly, a massive, massive shift? Let's dive into the story of Dara Khosrowshahi and really try to uncover the relentless drive that defines him. To really understand his vision for an AI-driven future, we have to go back, way back, to the beginning. Because as you'll see, his entire professional worldview was pretty much forged in the crucible of revolution. Okay, so picture this. He's just 9 years old when the Islamic Revolution erupts in Iran. His family, they had this huge industrial company, and they lost everything. Then it gets worse. Revolutionary Guards literally fire bullets into their home. They were forced to flee to the US and just rebuild from scratch. And for the next 6 years, his father was trapped back in Iran. I mean, can you imagine? That experience was absolutely profound, a defining moment for him. And that trauma from his childhood, it translates directly into his professional mindset. He says it himself. I think at my core, I never feel safe. That feeling of having the rug pulled out of you, that's a feeling that never leaves you. You can tell this isn't just some old memory for him. It's a core motivator. It's the engine. So what was his why? What was the real reason behind all that ambition? Well, it was deeply personal. After seeing his family struggle, his primary motivation became incredibly simple and powerful. I just wanted to make my family proud. So, this intense personal history, it's really no surprise that it went on to shape a very distinct and, frankly, an incredibly demanding leadership philosophy. Let's get into his playbook. You can really see his evolution as a CEO when you compare his time at Expedia versus Uber. It's like night and day. At Expedia, he said, we were selling vacations. We did talk about work-life balance. But at Uber, the message is completely different. It's don't come here if you want to coast. And you come to Uber, you're going to work your ass off. That's a very clear signal of a culture built for pure intensity. And the result of that relentless playbook? Well, the numbers are pretty staggering. When he joined Uber, the company was losing $3 billion a year. Today, it generates nearly $10 billion in annual free cash flow. That is a massive turnaround. So, a key part of this whole strategy is something he calls radical transparency. For him, being brutally honest isn't just, a nice virtue. He sees it as a CEO's self-defense mechanism. It attracts people who actually want to face the truth, and it makes sure that he gets the unfiltered, crucial information that he needs to get back. So how does he actually get that truth in a giant company? Well, he cuts through all the layers of management to hear directly from the source. He sets up what he calls random direct channels. And his favorite example? He loves meeting with junior engineers who, in his words, don't give a shit and have a healthy disrespect for authority. They're the ones who will give him the unvarnished reality, no filter. All of this, the intensity, the transparency, it all leads back to the central unifying theme in his philosophy, the idea that hard work isn't just a personality trait. It's a skill that can, and he believes must, be learned. He calls it embrace the grind, and it really breaks down into 3 core ideas. First, you gotta stay focused. Don't let failure discourage you. Second, be relentless, which just means try and try again. And finally, and this is the big one, you gotta aim to outwork others. He believes that's the one advantage that truly compounds over time. And listen to how he puts it himself. The most important skill in life is the skill of working hard. When you see the top athletes, the thing that's different about them is they work their asses off. And that's a learned skill. He's talking about the Michael Jordans and the Ronaldos of the world. It proves that raw talent just isn't enough. But this raises a really fascinating question, doesn't it? Can someone who isn't a natural hard worker learn to become one? Well, Khosrowshahi is pretty skeptical here. He admits that in his experience, he's never actually seen it happen. That suggests it might be a skill that has to be forged early on in life. Okay, so now that we've got a handle on his relentless mindset, let's circle all the way back to that disruptive force we started with, artificial intelligence. His prediction here is unflinching. He believes AI will be capable of replacing the work of 70 to 80% of humans within the next 10 to 20 years. The sheer speed of this change is what makes it so different from all the industrial revolutions that came before. Which, of course, brings us right back to the central dilemma for his own company. What happens to the 9.4 million drivers and couriers on Uber's platform? Well, here's the trade-off he sees. On one hand, the societal gains are just enormous. Autonomous vehicles could be safer. We're talking about potentially saving 1 million lives a year globally. They'll be cheaper, more accessible. But the challenge on the other side is equally monumental: mass job displacement and the need for retraining on a scale that society has never even attempted. So what's his approach to all this? He believes you have to lean in. He says you can't slow down the rate of change. And if you're a part of that change, at least you can have some say as to how that change imprints on society. In other words, don't fight it, help shape it. And this brings us full circle, right back to his core belief. In a world that's facing this incredible wave of automation, he argues that the one thing we humans can control is our work ethic. And that's a really powerful final thought. It connects his entire philosophy. Maybe, in the age of AI, our most valuable human asset isn't our intelligence, but our relentlessness.